Hello, my name is Isaac and welcome to the Green Left Show. Today we've got a great interview with Shamikh Badra, who is a member of the International Committee of the Palestinian People's Party and is the founder of the Gaza Nippers program. Shamikh is talking with Green Left's Peter Boyle about the dire conditions in Gaza and resisting US President Donald Trump's plan to clear Palestinian people from their own land. Now, this interview was recorded on the land of the Gadigal people, land that was stolen and never ceded, and always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Just like Israel, Australia was built on the dispossession and genocide of the First Peoples, and Green Left pledges to stand with First Nations people in campaigns for justice, sovereignty, and land rights. Before we get started, if you like the work that we do, you can become a supporter at greenleft.org.au/support. Plans start from just $5 a month, and it's the best way to both support our content and receive everything that we produce. Now, on with the interview.
Okay, thank you for speaking to us, Shamikh, and thank you for coming in today, especially at this particularly dramatic moment for the Palestinian people, particularly the people of Gaza.
Thank you, Peter.
Now, US President Donald Trump said during his meeting with that war criminal, Benjamin Netanyahu, that the US would take over Gaza, permanently relocate the Palestinian people who are living in Gaza to other countries, flatten it, and rebuild Gaza as a Riviera of the Middle East. How do you think the Palestinian people, particularly the people of Gaza, are responding to this? And how should the Australian government be responding to this?
Thank you, Peter, and thanks for Green Left for this interview. I think these statements are an extension to the colonial strategy of eliminating the Palestinian people in Gaza. And this started after 7th of October, when they started this genocide and destroyed the necessities of life in Gaza. And then they thought that after the destruction of Gaza, people will leave, and then they can succeed to achieve ethnic cleansing again. And it is important to know that Palestinians will never leave Gaza, even if some groups left Gaza, but that doesn't mean all the population will leave Gaza, especially people are conscious about the colonial plans and the objectives of this policy. And Peter, you remember when the Israeli occupation was killing people in the north of Gaza, and they pushed them to leave, but they didn't leave. And I don't think Trump and the colonial and his colonial plans will succeed in this war, and Palestine will resist. We don't have another opportunity except resisting this colonial project. We will never accepting elimination of our population, and we know and we realize if they succeeded to eliminate Palestinians, this means liquidation of Palestinian issue.
How do you think the Australian government should be responding to this latest statement by Trump?
Australian government should support the solutions in Palestine according to international resolutions, especially 242 and 338, that Israel should withdraw its occupation from the Palestinian territories occupied in 1967 and ending this occupation. And they should support the solution for the Palestinian refugees according to the 194 resolution by United Nations. This is the most important for Australia to support United Nations resolutions.
Now, Trump suggested that the people of Gaza are in such a desperate situation after 1 year of genocidal attacks that they might voluntarily leave their homeland to be resettled into other countries. What do you think about this?
This is not, this colonial strategy is not new. In 1955, America and Egypt agreed to relocate Palestinians, and they wanted to transfer Palestinians from Gaza to Sinai. But Palestinian people refused this project and organized big rallies, and this rallies was in 1955. This organized by communist people in Gaza in alliance with other parties, and they overthrew this project. And Palestinians understood that if they left Palestine, they will not return. They will not repeat the another Nakba, because when Palestinians left Palestine in 1948, it was big catastrophe, and we are still fighting for 7 decades to return to our land that we forced to leave, and we will, inshallah, soon. And we will fight, and we will continue to resist these colonial projects. They succeeded they thought that if they succeeded in Australia to eliminate the indigenous people, or in America or in New Zealand, they can succeed in Palestine. They will not succeed. Even here will not succeed, because indigenous people will continue their struggle to achieve self-determination.
Now, that is maybe the case, but the situation of the people who are in Gaza today is truly desperate. How would you imagine to be a just way of dealing with their immediate situation today? What would be the right thing for anybody around the world, all who had any democratic instincts? What would be the right solution to the immediate challenges of surviving in this devastated landscape that is Gaza today?
Yes. Now we want Israel to stop its genocide. We don't trust Netanyahu and his government, because they want to continue this genocide after the ceasefire. And now Trump wanted to continue ethnic cleansing in Palestine. But the priority for Palestinians to stay in their land, and we want the international community to intervene to support people in Gaza, and we must build Gaza again, and then we want to end this occupation. This is a priority, and we are adhere to international resolutions. We don't accept any kind of pressure to try to impose solution, and they will not be solution. It will be like to achieve their colonial projects in Palestine. And I want to remind you that Israel wanted to achieve a Jewish state. What does that mean? This colonial state will expel Arabs and Palestinians outside historic of Palestine in order to achieve this colonial project. And for us as a Palestinian, we must resist this colonial project, and we want to stay in our land, and we will continue our struggle to achieve right of return. This is the priorities for Palestinians.
Some of the images from the early stage of the current ceasefire process that's going on that stick in my mind is comparing the healthy state of the hostages, the Israeli hostages who were returned, to some of the Palestinians who were released, thousands who were detained by the Zionist state. It said to me not just a lot about the democratic values of these powers, different powers, but also it spoke to the strength of the resistance even after 1 year of non-stop bombing and attack. Do you think that this ceasefire in a way was in part at least a victory for the resistance?
Yes, I think it's a victory for Palestinian people in general, because the victory for the people who are fighting for freedom, and they don't want to give up, and they want to continue their struggle in order to achieve their goals. And we want to release, and it's normal, Palestinians want to fight for releasing the Palestinian prisoners. And the Palestinian people succeeded to pressure Israel and America to release some of Palestinian prisoners. And as long as you don't give up, this means that's victory. And this victory means is not about just to achieve all your goals. Sometimes when you stop this aggression to continue this victory, when you stop, when you succeed to stop the Israeli occupation to achieve their goals, it's a victory. Yes, there are a lot of martyrs, a lot of people killed, but we know this struggle, as long as you are struggling against colonialism, you will lose a lot of comrades, friends during the war. And this is the price of resistance, and we should pay. At the same time, now Netanyahu is wanted by International Criminal Court. This is the first time in the history of the occupation in Palestine. Palestinians succeeded by support of South Africa to prosecute the Israeli criminals. And when Netanyahu visits America and Trump supporting him, that doesn't mean he is not a criminal. Both they are criminals. And for that, Palestinians will prepare to defend themselves. And I am sure Palestinians will win at the end, because the history told us. Because if you analyze the context in the situation in Palestine, this colonial wanted to completely eliminate and Palestinian indigenous people and to liquid the Palestinian issue. But still they couldn't, despite all the support of America, despite all weapons that supported by Israel and destroying everything in Gaza. But still they failed to achieve their goals. And what happened in Gaza now is kind of victory for Palestinians. And we are proud about that.
That's good. Let's talk about another front of the resistance, the global solidarity movement that has been going on around the world. Now, the Zionists and some of the governments, Western governments who support the Zionists, have tried to suppress this movement and brand it as anti-Semitic. They say, if you are against Israel, then you are against Jews, or you are a Jew hater. What do you have to say about this movement, and what role do you think it contributed to the immense isolation, if you like, of Israel at the present moment?
Yeah, first I would like to thank the solidarity movement around the world, and we highly appreciate its role. And we are proud of this solidarity movement. And this confirms that Palestinians are not alone. And despite the Zionist lobby trying to distort the reputation of solidarity movement, they failed. Everything now became clear. And when you are fighting against imperialism and colonialism, this doesn't mean anti-Semitic. When we go for rallies, for example, we have Jewish comrades are against Israeli occupation. So we will not be, no one in this solidarity movement accept these accusations, because all of them supporting human rights, supporting justice, supporting equality. So how we can be anti-Semitic? So I think they failed also in these accusations in terms of distorting the reputation of resistance and the solidarity movement. And solidarity movement became stronger stronger and stronger, and we have a lot of supporters, and we are happy and proud about that. And this raise the morals of Palestinians.
If Trump does send in the U.S. military directly to occupy Gaza, do you think that one of the consequences of this might be a strengthening of the currently very small anti-genocide movement among Israeli citizens?
After the declarations of Trump, unfortunately, the majority of Israelis supporting this strategy of expelling Palestinians, and there is small parties like will not be like 10%, like don't support like elimination of indigenous people in Palestine. But in case American army wanted to fight in Gaza, nothing can be changed, because Israel were bombing Gaza by American weapons, and they guided by America, and America supported them in everything. So will not change anything. Palestine will fight, will resist according to international resolutions. We have the right to resist occupation as long as our land is occupied, and America will not succeed to change the international community and international law. And even if Trump thinks that he can achieve easily what he planned, he is wrong. He will not achieve anything. We don't want Gaza to be anything except we are decide about Palestine. We have the right of self-determination, and Gaza is not for sale. Palestine is not for sale. It's not for his business. We are in Palestine, and we have like heritage, history, tradition, and no one can leave Gaza or forget Palestine. And we are fighting, and still we are fighting to right of return. This is a solution for us, and no one can give up or say we can't continue, because we don't have another option. We want to continue our resistance. This is most important for us as Palestinians, that yes, the situation is hard and terrible, and we lost a lot of our people and our friends, our families, and this, at the beginning we are sad. For me, for example, I was so sad at the beginning, and I didn't do anything for a few months, but later I found that's motivation for me to continue this struggle for freedom and human rights.
Now, before Trump made his latest statement, and to be fair, it's not the first time he has talked about this idea of his kind of real estate idea to rebuild Gaza. He has mentioned it before.
Yes.
But before this, you and your brother were involved in a project to do something which people are not talking a lot about around the world. That is to try and locate some of your family and friends and other people who are in the missing category in Gaza. Yeah. Can you tell us, how big is this problem? How many people are missing?
Yeah.
And how does this relate to the general numbers for people who have been killed and wounded?
According to the like Ministry of Health, there are around 14,000 under rebels. They are missing, and I have family under the rebels still, and we are still searching to find their bodies, and we don't know where are these bodies, because just we heard from the neighbors they were bombed in the area in Shijaiya, but we don't know how we can like to evacuate these bodies, to bury them in dignity. And still we are thinking what we can do, and the situation is terrible in terms we don't know if they are really under the rebels or Israel arrested them. And when we were in contact with Red Cross, they didn't support or give us any information. Just they said, okay, we will reply. And until now, for 1 year, they didn't give any information about them. Even they didn't tell us, at least we were in contact with Israeli army and they said they are not arrested. Even that, they didn't do that. This is another big problem. And now we are thinking how to evacuate my mother, because she is sick and old and for 15 months without medicine. And after she was under the pressure of losing my father and my brother Ihab and his family, she is so sick, and honestly, it's not easy to convince her to leave Gaza. And Palestinians don't want to leave Gaza. And this example how the Palestinians are interested to stay in Palestine and they don't want to leave Gaza. And I am thinking to travel with my brother Majid to Gaza to see what we can do. The family house destroyed, and the savings of my father savings were stolen. We don't know who is stealing, but I think perhaps Israeli army. And we want now to see how to find the bodies of my family. So the situation is hard, but I am optimistic that Palestinian will win at the end, because as you see, the Israeli army bombed Gaza, and the equal of explosions are equal to nuclear weapons, and Palestine didn't give up, and still fighting. Despite the destructions, despite everything, Palestinians have good experience in fighting colonialism, and they don't stop. And Netanyahu was saying, "I will not stop this war until to stop the resistance," and he failed. And he said, "I will continue this war until they stop the rockets." But rockets is still. So the idea here is not about just saying the solution. The idea, the world should understand the main reason of the violence is occupation. And if we end the occupation, will be peace. Peace can't be achieved without justice.
One of the things which I think I find very insulting about Trump talking about making Gaza into an international beachside Riviera resort is that it is as if the Palestinian people, the people of Gaza, did not appreciate the beach. And I just would like you to share the story because of the work that you did with the Gaza Nippers program. It did expose this.
For Palestinians, the beach is so important. For example, when I was in Gaza, my father, I was going to the beach twice a day with my father, and he is teaching me swimming. And after I was swimming and became lifeguard, thanks to my father, and then I start working as a lifeguard in Gaza, a lot of people, there is the only a place for entertainment in Palestine is the beach. And we appreciate the beach and we take care of the beach. And after I came to Australia, I was thinking how to improve and to develop the beach. And then I found good experience in Australia about surfing, about the Nippers, and we started to benefit from this experience in Gaza. And we will continue, despite Israeli army killed some of the children and that our team. It's sad, but we will continue this project, and this is our land, and we, as I said, we have the right of self-determination. Trump is thinking that everything can be like business. no, uh, it's not for sale. So I don't know who is convincing him that that's realistic. It's not realistic at all. And we appreciate our land, beaches, our villages. And not only in Gaza, we, as I said, and I repeated that, we want to return to our homes. For example, my family came from a village in historic Palestine. This village in Ramla, not Ramallah, Ramla. And my father, before he passed away, he was saying, I will return to my village. I see my father, I see my grandfather. So my father, the last words was speaking before he passed away, he wanted to return to his village. This is important that people are, before dying, still thinking. And this message from him to me, we will never give up the right of return.
Yes, the idea of the right of return and the original Nakba is so central to the Palestinian identity as a struggling, oppressed people today. Some people have compared the genocide that in Gaza as an attempt of a second Nakba.
Yeah.
When you look back at the last year, all the terrible experiences and struggles that have taken place, do you think the Palestinian people, in responding to this second Nakba, if you like to call it that, have learned a lesson from the first Nakba? And what is this lesson?
Yeah. Good question. The main important lesson in this Nakba and this genocide is not leaving Palestine again, because we were cheated in the first Nakba when the Arab armies came to Palestine, convincing people that you can leave for temporary time and you will come back again and you will return after 1 week. And people thought that they are honest, and they left for a few days, 1 week, but later they were cheated. It's like kind of complicity between these armies and Israel. But now Palestine learn the main important lesson, not to leave Palestine and stay in Palestine. And to, if you want to overthrow the objectives of colonialism, it is important to stay in your land, and you should stop the Israeli policy in terms of eliminating the indigenous people. This is the most important. Yes, they killed a lot of people in Gaza, but they will not kill 2 million. By the way, Israel killed around 50 to 60,000 Palestinians. At the same time, there were 60 or 50 new babies come. So they will fail. They can't kill all the Palestinians. So Palestinians will stay in Palestine, will never leave Palestine. And this is the main lesson that we learn from the first Nakba.
Have the Palestinian people's views of the various conservative neo-colonial Arab regimes and their role in the Palestinian issue, has that changed since the period of the first Nakba to the present time, especially after last year?
Yeah, I think Palestinians realized that they are fighting imperialism alone. This is important to know. We should fight against imperialism and depend on ourselves. Then we can think about support from other countries. But the main lesson, you can't just say, I will leave Palestine and Arab armies can help us. So this is another lesson, not to leave, and you should fight. Yes, Palestinians in the first Nakba were fighting, but when the 6 or 7 armies come, Palestinians thought that this will be a solution. But now Palestinians depend on themselves and fight on depending on themselves in this war. So, yeah, this is a second important lesson, to depend on ourselves. The third lesson in this in this war and this genocide, that all Palestinian faction should respect and appreciate the people in Gaza who succeeded to protect resistance, to support resistance. And without people, we will not continue and struggling against colonialism. I will give you some examples. Iraq regime was defeated in 2 weeks because the people were not supporting this regime, even in Syria. Even in Bolivia, when Ernesto Che Guevara went to Bolivia to fight against imperialism, the people in Bolivia were not ready for revolution. So it's important to understand that if the people don't support resistance, resistance will not succeed.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Green Left Show. As I mentioned at the beginning, the best way to support the work we do is to head to greenleft.org.au/support and become a supporter from just $5 a month. You can also share this video with your friends, put a like and a comment to help boost it up through the algorithms. And we'll see you on the next episode.